You know Leonardo da Vinci, right? The man who painted the Mona Lisa, designed flying machines, studied human anatomy, and created ideas that were centuries ahead of his time. But here's something interesting. How did one person manage to do so much in just one lifetime? Was he simply a genius, or did he understand something about time that we don't? Because if you really think about it, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Yet most of us struggle to even stay consistent with one thing, like drawing, writing, or creating content. So what was different about him? People often say that Leonardo didn't sleep like normal people. Instead of taking a long 7 to 8 hour sleep, he used to take small naps throughout the day. This way, he stayed awake for more hours and had more time to work on his ideas. Now, when you hear this, it sounds powerful, almost like a secret hack. More waking hours means more productivity, right? But wait, is that really the reason behind his greatness? Or are we just focusing on the wrong thing? Because here's the truth. Trying to copy his sleep cycle is not practical. In fact, it can be harmful, especially for students like us. We have school, studies, and a routine that already demands energy and focus. If you start cutting your sleep just to be productive, you might end up doing the opposite. So maybe the real lesson was never about sleeping less. Maybe the real lesson was about how he used his time when he was awake. Now think about your own day. You wake up, go to school, come back home, and then you tell yourself, "I'll draw later." That one sentence, "I'll do it later," is where everything starts to fall apart. Because that later keeps moving. First it's after lunch, then after a short break, then after watching one video, then maybe in the evening. And before you even realize it, the whole day is gone. And at the end of the day, you feel guilty, thinking you had time but still didn't do anything. But the reality is, it's not that you didn't have time. It's that your time had no structure. Leonardo didn't just have time. He had control over his time. He didn't leave his day open, hoping that he would feel like working at some point. Instead, he followed his curiosity with discipline. When he was studying anatomy, he would go deep into it. When he was painting, he would spend hours perfecting even the smallest details. But here's something very important. When he got tired of one thing, he didn't run away from work. He switched to another form of work. This is something we have already talked about before, healthy procrastination. Not all procrastination is bad. There is a difference between escaping work and switching work. Leonardo didn't escape his work. He rotated it. From painting to science, from science to design, from design back to painting. He was always in motion, always creating, always thinking. Even when he wasn't working on one thing, he was still working on something else that added value to his creativity. But what do? When drawing feels hard, we don't switch to another creative activity. We switch to distractions. We open Instagram, start scrolling, watch random videos, and tell ourselves we'll come back in a few minutes. But those few minutes turn into hours. That's not switching, that's escaping. And this is where most of our time actually gets wasted. So the question is, how can we manage our time better? How can we apply Leonardo's approach in our own life without copying his extreme habits? The answer is simple, but not easy. It starts with structure. Instead of keeping your entire day open, decide a fixed time for your creative work. Maybe it's 1 hour after school. Maybe it's 30 minutes in the evening. It doesn't have to be a huge block of time, but it has to be fixed. Because when time is fixed, your brain stops negotiating. It stops saying, later. It understands that this is the time to work. The second thing is creative switching. When you feel bored or stuck while drawing, don't escape into distractions. Switch to another meaningful activity. You can sketch loosely, watch an art breakdown, study references, or even write ideas. The key point is that you stay inside the creative zone. This way, even when you are not doing your main task, you are still moving forward. And this creates something powerful: momentum. The third thing is understanding that motivation is unreliable. Some days you will feel like drawing, and some days you won't. If you depend only on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. But if you focus on showing up every day, even for a short time, your consistency will slowly build. And once consistency builds, creativity starts to flow more naturally. Leonardo didn't become great because he had more time than others. He became great because he respected time. He didn't waste it waiting for the perfect moment or the right mood. He simply worked. He showed up, again and again. And over time, those small actions turned.